So you're looking for a dog trainer in Greece, New York. Finding the right person can really, truly change your life with your dog. So let's get into it. This is your guide to finding a great professional so you and your best friend can build an amazing life together. Okay, just picture it for a second. You're taking these super calm, relaxed walks along the trails at Greece Canal Park. There's no pulling, no lunging. And then you get home and your dog just settles down, totally chill, even when the mailman comes by. That's what good training can do. That's the goal, right? So how do we find the right person to help make that happen?
All right, section 1, finding a pro. First things first, what really separates a good trainer from a great one? Let's talk about how you can spot a real professional who's going to get you those results you're looking for.
Okay, this is probably the most important thing to look for, a trainer who uses positive reinforcement. And look, that's not just some trendy phrase. It's a method that's humane, it's backed by science, and it works by rewarding the behaviors you want to see. You're building trust, not fear. It's way more effective in the long run than any of those older methods based on punishment or intimidation.
All right, let's talk credentials. You can think of these as proof that a trainer is serious about their education. A really common one you'll see is CPDKA. Basically, it means they've passed a big test on training knowledge. Now, if you're dealing with more complex stuff, like serious anxiety or aggression, you want to look for certifications from groups like the IAABC. They're pretty much the gold standard for behavior issues. Here's the thing, these aren't actually required by law in New York, so when a trainer goes out and gets them, that shows you they're absolutely dedicated to their craft. Okay, on to section 2, programs and local costs. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, the practical stuff. We'll look at the different kinds of training programs you can find, and, importantly, what you should probably expect to budget for them right here in the Greasy area.
So, when it comes to training, you've pretty much got two main paths, group classes or private lessons. Group classes are awesome for teaching your dog to focus on you when there are other dogs and people around, which, let's be honest, is a huge skill to have. Plus, they're usually easier on the wallet. Then you have private lessons. These are totally tailored one-on-one sessions. They're perfect if you need to work on something specific that happens at home, like your dog going nuts when the doorbell rings or jumping all over your guests.
So what does all of this cost? Well, here's a rough idea of what you might see locally. For a typical 6-week puppy or basic obedience class, you're probably looking at a couple $100. A single private lesson usually runs somewhere around $100 to $150. And then you have the most intensive option, board and train. That's where your dog actually goes to live with the trainer for a few weeks. It's got the biggest price tag, for sure, but it can be a really solid option for tackling big training goals. So yeah, this should give you a pretty good ballpark for your budget. All right, moving on to section 3, questions for a trainer. So you've done your research, you've got a short list of trainers, now what? Think of this section as your interview toolkit. We're going to give you the exact questions to ask so you can feel really confident about your final choice. Don't forget, you are hiring a professional to work with a member of your family, so you absolutely should interview them. Ask them straight up about their training philosophy. You really want to hear them talk about positive reinforcement. Ask how they customize their approach for different dogs, because every dog is different, right? And, of course, get the practical stuff sorted out, like total costs and what kind of homework you'll be doing. A truly great trainer will be completely open and happy to answer every single one of these. And finally, section 4, Grease rules and resources. Let's bring all this training back home. We'll cover the local rules you need to be aware of and, the fun part, where you can go around town to practice all these new skills. 6 feet. Remember that number. A standard 6-foot leash isn't just a good idea, it's actually required by law for your dog in all public areas here in Greece. The only exception is if you're in a designated off-leash park. It's all about safety and keeping everyone, including your dog, under control. Okay, besides the leash law we just talked about, there are a couple of other key rules to know. First, New York State requires your dog to be up to date on their rabies vaccine and to wear that tag on their collar at all times. Also, it's about being a good neighbor. Constant, nonstop barking can actually be a nuisance violation. And that's exactly the kind of thing a good trainer can help you get ahead of. And one more piece of paperwork to be aware of. Every single dog in Greece needs to be licensed with the town. It's a really simple process. You just head over to the town clerk's office. The main thing you'll need is proof of that rabies vaccination we just mentioned.
Okay, and now for the really fun stuff, where to go practice. Greece Canal Park is just perfect for working on that loose leash walking with all the bikers and joggers around. For off leash practice, like working on recall, the Town of Greece Dog Park is the only place you can legally and safely do that. Then, once your dog is getting pretty reliable, you can level up the challenge at a place like Ontario Beach Park during the off season. Talk about distractions.
Putting in the effort to find the right trainer, it's about so much more than just getting your dog to sit or stay. It's really about building an incredible bond, keeping them safe, and just being a good member of the community. We wish you all the best as you get out there and enjoy a better, safer, and more connected life with your dog right here in Greece.